trends actually. What you see is that outsourcing, business process outsourcing, that is an opportunity for countries with lower wages. But actually, we also see that those countries like China, they have lower wages, but now China is investing very heavily in these technologies because they know they need to be a cost leader. And because China has grown so rapidly, their income has grown rapidly, their costs are going up. So in order to maintain their position, in order to remain competitive as an outsourcing destination, they are applying these technologies rather effectively because their political system allows for certain things to be implemented rather quickly. In a democracy, you need to gain a majority in order you want to change something. If you want to change laws, etc. In China, you can just do it and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Therefore, China can implement these technologies much faster than democratic countries. But the middle class in those democratic countries, they're getting fed up. They say, okay, why are you not doing anything to protect us? And so, yeah, it's not one or the other, but probably the impact of globalization will hit us much less than for example, AI technology. Take taxi drivers.
Okay. China is 180 degrees turnaround from outsourcing to AI because China labor wages is going up. So outsourcing business is shifting to Southeast Asia, like Vietnam, Bangladesh, and those countries. And China is 2015. They announced 2025 manufacturing. It is a 10 countrywide issue to innovate. This is every industry focus on AI. Like every industry, transportation, banking, everything focus on AI. Toward to 2025 and 2035, 2049. 2049 means the year of singularity. 2049 means computer will supersede human brain. 2049. They focus on 2049. Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Singularity. It's a singularity. And so the Trump recognized kind of China issue. So now is they started technological war against China and America. And at global level, especially China, America, very much focus on AI area. Every industry is really going to change next 5 years, kind of revolution. So we focus on AI. Outsourcing is just almost going to developing country. Not developed country. China is already developed country. And like Huawei is 5G, and this is the ahead of America, and they dominate at those areas. But America is still GAFA at major, Facebook and Google and kind of big company still dominant in the world at the head of technology. So Japan is lagging behind. I don't know how many years, but many lagging behind. So I was head of Accenture before. So I returned to give opportunity for Japanese company to get revived again. But currently in Japanese market, Accenture and IBM dominate in the market. And instead of Fujitsu and Initial, they're gone. But I think for the Japanese, it's a big shame. So they just cannot appear in any kind of global discussion for IT technology. So last resort is AI. Maybe Japan is going to be bad, especially for deep learning, especially for the quantum computer area. Maybe Japan we can get the lead last resort. That we try to discuss with him. Okay, Japan try to what the issues we need to consider. That now is I discussed with him for past couple of weeks. And unfortunately, Japan is major two issues. One is Japanese top management. Okay, they are reluctant to make innovation and very conservative. They don't want to change the company system. Right? This is one issue. The other issue is very shortage of human resources is for AI area. The Japanese government paid for education, so they are almost none of mathematical experts or physicians. But AI area, we need a mathematics expert. He just against my opinion, but I think if we're going to consider for next 5 years, his company is going to ask for the idea to analyze the real estate pricing trend, and they're going to give him the price trend. But who's going to judge this is accurate? How many percentage can we believe them? Or 50%, 80%, or 90%? But currently nobody knows. So this is, I think, we should know the accuracy of their calculation based upon the deep learning and computer AI producing output. But so nobody knows. So we should train those people, and we need to recommend what kind of education we need to consider for next 5 years future. What we need to consider for AI technology. Just currently, the many people just kind of sort of AI technology like a black box, but this is not right. Not black box. It's always they have something reason what kind of output coming out. So we should recognize how to teach it. But what everybody has different opinion. But I believe that that's the reason I studied mathematics and physics. This is not easy, very difficult. But somebody should understand instead of Google or Amazon or IBM. Okay, are we going to believe consultant people, or are we going to believe IT technology company? No, I can't believe it. What level of accuracy they're going to provide us? We should get to know. And I don't deny AI the output, but okay, this is 80% accuracy, or 90%, or 70%. So management need to change their decision making based upon the result of the output. And this kind of news technology, just almost all technology, America is focused on prediction. Tomorrow's price, okay, what kind of inventory do we have tomorrow? What kind of customer will come in tomorrow? What kind of marketing is insufficient for my company does? And this case is, okay, we're going to look at parameters and that put in the data and compare come out with, okay, this kind of customer is suitable for your company. But I doubt it. Okay, maybe 80% accuracy or 90% accuracy. But how much accuracy does it have? But this is very important. But nobody knows. Right? This is my opinion. How do you think? This I did discussion from this afternoon.
So I think the essence of AI. That's why we have been looking at how AI works under the hood. Basically, the essence of AI is that you feed data into a system. Either you feed data by letting the system generate the data itself, or you give examples to data. So that you give like 10,000 images of a cat, and then you say, okay, well, this is a cat, and then it can guess whether it's a dog or a cat. So you just give it an image. Is it a dog or a cat? The computer says dog or cat. But it makes a mistake. Then gradually, the system starts to learn and starts to recognize this is a dog or a cat. That it starts to score better and better. So that the system finally starts to recognize certain patterns. And those patterns will let the system decide whether it's dog or cat. There are no parameters involved here. Basically, it is learning, okay, it's right or wrong. Now, there are other ways that it can generate data, but the more data you put into that system, the better capable it will be to learn and to improve its score. So the difference of AI is basically that you set a goal for the software, and then it is intelligent because the computer by itself starts to learn to adjust its parameters, to adjust its program, as you may, to be better and to become better at it. So famous examples of artificial intelligence are the game of chess, shogi, and Go. Right, there is a very clear goal. We can easily define. Okay, so this is the board. These are the plays. This is what you can do, and this is the objective of the game, right? And then without having to train the system, without having to put any games in it, you just let it play against itself. And then, but by doing that, the computer starts to realize, okay, and I can follow this strategy, and I can see that the outcome's getting better, because basically it learns from its previous game. So initially the results might be poor, but gradually, by letting the computer play itself, it creates superior outcomes. That makes the system intelligent. So the whole idea of AI is that you don't set parameters. The nature of AI is that basically the computer learns by itself, and basically we can show its strengths by letting it play against humans. Now, Google AI is now world champion, has beaten the world champion in chess, shogi, and Go. So basically, the system learned how to play itself, and it actually taught us humans how to be better at Go, for example, because the computer came up with unique strategies that humans had never imagined up until now. But actually now AI is starting to teach us. Now, this is a very analytical situation, a very isolated situation, right? So this is just the game of Go. It's very complex because there are enormous number of possibilities, but computers are good at that. They can calculate that. Now, I don't think we need to know, in order to be using AI, I don't think we need to know how to set parameters or how it works under the hood. We just need to know that basically there is the system that will be able to learn. If we give it enough information, if we let it run, it will give the best estimator, the best action that you can do under certain circumstances. What we do need to understand is that we actually need to control the environment in which AI operates. So let's take a self-driving vehicle. A self-driving vehicle needs artificial intelligence. For example, what AI needs to do is needs to make a differentiation between a tree, which doesn't move, and a dog, which does move. So if it does that, if it's capable of doing that, then if it knows it's a dog, then it knows that the dog can move. If it sees that the dog is moving, then basically the AI can decide, okay, now it's best to change direction, or to brake, or to go forward, right? Because the dog is just too far away. There is no way that the dog will actually hit the car. But what we need to do is we need to create certain rules as to from which point do we think that certain risks are unacceptable. So maybe the car, the artificial intelligence, might decide, okay, there's a 50% chance that the dog will run in front of the car, but it may decide that 50% is acceptable. But as humans, we do not think 50% is acceptable. We only want to accept a 0.01% chance that it will hit the dog. And if it's a human, we want only 0.01%, and if accept the risk. So then it should brake. But basically, we do not need to know what's happening, is my idea. We do not need to know exactly what is happening inside that AI. The only thing is what we need to do is we need to make sure that we feed it with a lot of data, so that we can add more variables and let it learn more, let it learn better. And we need to be aware that we actually set the boundaries under which AI can operate, can take certain actions, and under which it is acceptable. So Urusan is learning mathematics in order to control AI, and I think it's not necessary.
I understand your point, but how can I say? AI is progressing very fast.
Yes.
Technology is progressing very fast.
Yeah.
In the future, actually, the word learning means, to my understanding is actually only statistics. You give data,
Yeah.
that's human side. Data. But it comes from human side. So you put a lot of data, and then you give some formula, parameters, how to connect these thousands of pictures. Because if you just feed pictures,
That's what it does.
doesn't mean anything. And
No, actually, it does. It
no,
does.
the first move.
Mm.
First move. For example, if you don't have a formula, for example, you give me I come here, I don't know what's going on. There are a lot of pictures. I mean, what should I do with it? But if you say, for example, you have to choose today, I don't know, the most important topic today or something. If you give me a task, then I know what to do. To move. But if you don't give me anything, so I just
So basically, that's the only thing, right? In most simple form, we just want to be able, want the system to be able to differentiate between dogs and cats. So one way of you can do AI. This is one way. There's multiple ways, but one way what you can do is you just put in 5,000 images of dogs and cats, and then you actually identify. You tell the system, okay, this is a dog or this is a cat. So then what you do is you just present it with an image, and then the computer needs to guess whether it's a dog or a cat. Mm-hmm. And okay, so the computer guesses cat, and then no, wrong. Oh, okay. That information needs to be stored. So basically, the computer remembers the image of the cat, and then says, okay, this is a cat. Then the next image comes up, and then it says dog, wrong, cat. Gradually, the computer then starts to remember all those patterns and say, hey, there is something similar in these images. So it starts to generally understand, okay, so if it, well, maybe a dog and a cat, that's not so easy, but let's say dogs and cars. Mm-hmm. So if it doesn't have eyes, it's probably a car, right? So the car, then the computer starts to realize, okay, so it doesn't have eyes, car, and then gradually, the computer is getting better and better and better in differentiating between cars and dogs. Mm-hmm. So that is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is basically just explain the rules. Yeah, so this is the board. This is what you can do, and the objective is this. Mm-hmm. Now, one part of the computer's brain is playing white. The other part of the computer brain is playing black, and it's just playing itself. In the beginning, it's nonsense. Mm-hmm. But gradually, the computer starts to realize that, okay, if I do this, then I create a certain advantage. So actually, the Google AI learned to play Go, not by it teaching it how to just by putting a lot of games into its memory, but completely from scratch. So without actually feeding it any data, it just explained the rules, the objective of the game, and the computer learned how to play Go and beat the world champion.